Absolutely. Here's a fully developed creative piece of approximately 1,600 words for your requested topic. I've written it in a style that's suitable for entertainment news or a magazine feature, blending narrative, insight, and speculative commentary. Jinger Duggar breaks silence about Josh and demons. For decades, the Duggar family has been a staple of reality television and pop culture, a household name synonymous with the extremes of conservative Christian living. From the earliest days of 19 Kids and counting to the more recent Counting On, the Duggar family's lives have been displayed in a mix of unfiltered devotion, family drama, and, for better or worse, a public fascination with their personal lives. But few stories have carried as much shock and speculation as the scandal surrounding Josh Duggar. Now, for the first time in years, Jinger Duggar, one of the family's most outspoken and independent voices, has broken her silence. And her words are raising eyebrows, sparking conversations, and, perhaps most intriguingly, shining light on the shadows many believed were buried deep in the Duggar legacy. A sister's perspective. Jinger, now married and living a life somewhat removed from the Arkansas family compound, has long been regarded as the Duggar sibling most willing to question the family's strict traditions. While others remain tethered to the expectations of the Duggar name, Jinger's journey has been one of seeking autonomy, moving out of the compound, pursuing her own career, and navigating a modern faith that accommodates personal expression. Her silence over the Josh scandal, however, was notable. When news broke of his multiple scandals, including allegations of sexual misconduct that shook the family and their fan base, Jinger's voice was conspicuously absent from the media frenzy. Fans speculated on her reasoning. Was it loyalty, fear, or simply a need for private reflection? In her first in-depth interview since the revelations, Jinger revealed a perspective that many did not expect. It was a time of immense heartbreak, she said, not just for our family, but for each of us individually. For me, it was about processing what felt like a betrayal on every level, moral, emotional, spiritual. And yes, there were moments where it felt like we were contending with demons in a very real sense. The phrase demons immediately caught attention. While Jinger's words could easily be interpreted metaphorically, the way she spoke suggested a deeper, almost spiritual reckoning. She elaborated. When you grow up in a household that emphasizes sin, accountability, and repentance in such rigid ways, confronting these issues, especially when they involve someone you love, is like facing a storm. And in many ways, the storm felt demonic. Facing the shadows. The Duggar family has long been characterized by their approach to sin and redemption. For years, their public statements have revolved around forgiveness, repentance, and divine guidance. Yet, for insiders and critics alike, there has always been a question. How does a family reconcile love with accountability when one of their own commits grievous acts? Jinger's comments hint at an internal struggle that extends beyond public scrutiny. There's a spiritual dimension to trauma that's hard to explain, she said. It's not just about what someone did, but about the patterns that allowed it, the lies that were told, and the ways our family faith both helped and hindered us. At times, I genuinely felt like we were fighting something beyond ourselves. Demons, if you will, not literal, but deeply real in their emotional and spiritual impact. Her words resonate with a growing conversation in religious circles about spiritual abuse, accountability, and the role of faith in processing trauma. While many Duggar fans initially viewed the family as a model of moral clarity, Jinger's reflections suggest a more nuanced reality. A household grappling with secrecy, shame, and the struggle between faith and human imperfection. Breaking silence, breaking norms. What makes Jinger's statement particularly groundbreaking is not just what she said about Josh or the so-called demons. It's that she said it at all. For years, the Duggar family maintained a carefully curated public image. Questions about Josh's actions were met with vague statements, prayers for healing, or silence. To speak openly about internal struggles, especially spiritual ones, is a departure from the Duggar norm. Silence is powerful, Jinger noted. It can protect, but it can also imprison. I stayed quiet for a long time because I was trying to protect myself and my family. But there comes a point when silence no longer serves the truth or the healing process. For me, that moment came now. Her decision to speak also reflects a shift in her relationship with the broader Duggar brand. Unlike her younger sisters, who remain more closely aligned with the family's public image, Jinger has cultivated a space for personal narrative and honesty. Her voice, previously filtered through the lens of family expectations, now carries its own weight, an independent moral and spiritual perspective. The burden of faith. Underlying Jinger's reflections is a recurring theme. the intersection of faith and trauma. She spoke candidly about the difficulty of reconciling her belief in God with the actions of someone she once trusted implicitly. Faith can be a source of incredible strength, she said, but when confronted with betrayal from within, it can also feel like a test of everything you hold sacred. I won't pretend it was easy. There were nights of prayer, tears, and wrestling with questions I wasn't sure anyone could answer. Her perspective also highlights the duality of faith in the Duggar context, a source of guidance and a lens of judgment. Faith was our compass, but it also became a mirror that reflected not only our ideals but our shortcomings, Jinger explained. Sometimes the hardest demons to face are the ones inside your own heart: fear, doubt, shame. They're the ones that linger long after the headlines fade. A sister's responsibility. Jinger's willingness to speak about these experiences also underscores a sense of responsibility, both personal and communal. She recognizes that her voice has power, not just within her family, but among the millions who follow the Duggars' lives on television. I have a platform, she said, and with that platform comes a responsibility to tell truth where it matters. Not for judgment, but for awareness, for healing, for those who might be facing similar struggles and feel like they're alone. Her statement is particularly poignant in light of ongoing conversations about accountability in religious families. By framing the issues in spiritual and emotional terms, Jinger is providing a roadmap for others who may have grown up in environments where silence was valued over truth. Public reactions and controversy. As expected, the reaction to Jinger's comments has been polarized. Loyal Duggar fans praised her courage, lauding her for acknowledging pain and addressing spiritual complexity. Many appreciated her framing of the issue as a broader struggle with human imperfection and spiritual challenges rather than focusing solely on condemnation. Critics, however, questioned the timing and intent of her statements. Some accused her of leveraging the scandal for personal gain, while others argued that her comments were too vague to be meaningful. Yet even skeptics seemed to recognize that her reflections opened a conversation that the Duggars had long avoided: how families navigate scandal, faith, and forgiveness in real time. Moving forward, Jinger's willingness to confront these issues publicly is part of a larger evolution in her life. Since moving away from the Duggar compound and embracing a more independent lifestyle, she has consistently sought to balance personal freedom with spiritual integrity. Her recent interviews suggest that this evolution extends to her engagement with family trauma. Moving forward doesn't mean forgetting or excusing, she said. It means understanding, setting boundaries, and finding peace. It means acknowledging the shadows without letting them define you. And yes, it means sometimes facing the demons head-on, whether they are inside us or in the world around us. Her words offer a rare glimpse into a Duggar sibling navigating complex moral and spiritual terrain. While fans and critics alike will continue to debate the implications, one thing is clear: Jinger Duggar is no longer just a daughter or